Don't you mind people grinning in your face? Don't mind people grinning.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I hope you recently enjoyed the music videos that we posted from the Royal Blood show and Bad Nerves opening up for them and a little bit of the Cro-Mags. Today's video, it's a video that is kind of important to me, and I've been building it up for a while now and re-recording it, re-editing it, redoing it. But without further ado, we were going to do the Delta Blues story, basically, and how I feel that any music lover should have an appreciation for the blues. You can't call yourself a rock fan or a rock music fan without having appreciation for the blues. I also feel that that is a true American art form and music form, along with folk music. Folk and blues kind of go similar together. They have similar origins. But we're going to talk about the blues. And I feel, like I said, an appreciation for the blues for any music lover, definitely rock and roll enthusiast. It has to be there because I feel it's the seed that grew the tree of American modern music. And that seed started in the late 1800s, early 1900s, down in the deep south parts of Mississippi. A lot of historians that are way better at doing history research than myself can't really truly pinpoint the exact origin date of the Delta Blues. But a lot of believe that it formed during slavery and post-slavery years, and even years on a lot of those farms and plantations after slavery in the turn of the century when they were indentured servants. So it's really hard to truly say when and where did the blues start or when the Delta Blues started. But I truly feel in order to name the blues as what it is, it encompasses so many different styles of the blues. You got Carolina style blues, you got the Delta Blues, you got Chicago blues, you got city blues, you got Memphis blues. So there's a lot of different types of blues. We recently did a video of the top 10 most influential Delta Blues singers, and I hope you had a chance to check that out. So moving on, we're going to continue our story about how I feel that it started in the early 20th century. There is a key component woman that we already spoke about on our YouTube channel many years ago, Mamie Smith. She was more of a jazz singer, but she also paved the way for many African American musicians to get recorded and discovered. She was found down in Mississippi, and she was brought back up to Chicago, and she recorded 2 songs and had such a warm reception and sales-wise, they asked her to come back. And on this time when she came back, she had an all-black orchestra and band behind her, and that's when she recorded Crazy Blues, and it's right here for you. If you're interested in learning more about Mamie Smith, like I said, we do have a video about her on our channel already. And another famous person we spoke of that helped pave the way is Bessie Smith, and we also covered her on our channel. And she was one of the earliest recorders of blues. During this period, a lot of record labels started seeing this attention going down south and these artists down south, so they started dispatching talent scouts to go down south and to track down this talent. Which in turn started an era of the music industry called the race record wars. And that would be when a lot of these record labels dispatched all these talent scouts and ARs down to the south parts of Mississippi, Georgia, New Orleans, and Tennessee. But a lot of information is still foggy and hard to pinpoint exactly when the first recording was. There is one musician in particular from the Delta South, the Delta of Mississippi, and he was brought back up to Chicago to record one song with him just performing in 1926, which was Freddie Spirella. And he did Milk Cow Blues. But there was also Son House. There was Muddy Waters, Robert Johnson, and all these other guys that were players, which we spoke about on our YouTube channel. Like I said, Son House, Robert Johnson, the man who sold his soul to the devil at the crossroads, Charlie Patton, Skip James, Mississippi John Hurt, Blind Willie Johnson, Big Joe Williams, Tommy Johnson, which is supposedly a cousin of Robert Johnson. And in the movie Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, Tommy is the guitar player in the Soggy Bottom Boys. Buka White, and then a lot of people don't consider him Delta Blues, but he was born in the Delta of Mississippi and he moved to Chicago. Howlin' Wolf, he was another one, but he was a little later. He was like the 30s and 40s mostly. The Delta Blues Trail itself is something that I would love to be able to do. I'm not going to do the whole thing. Maybe I will do the whole thing, but I do want to start off in the Mississippi Delta part and maybe work or start in Memphis and go down. It follows Route 61 and it leaves Chicago and goes south and to Tennessee and then into Mississippi, and then it ends in New Orleans, Louisiana. And like I was saying, all these talent scouts would go up and down into the south trying to find these people. And a lot of these times they would bring them back up to Chicago or New York City and record a couple songs. A lot of times also while they were on the road, they would do live recordings and there would be a bunch of musicians playing together and they would all tour together and go to this place and that place and this place. The sad thing about that time, a lot of these African American musicians were not paid properly, weren't given royalty rights, didn't have any rights to their songs. One of the biggest spots in Tennessee is Memphis, as we all know, is Beale Street, where a lot of those musicians, when they would move out of the Delta, would stop in Tennessee and set up shop up in Memphis. Oh, excuse me, sorry. Would set up shop in Memphis. And then that would pave the way for future musicians like B.B. King, Little Richard. Beyond the United States, the Delta Blues eventually made it across the sea and into Europe, mainly England, and it opened up the doors for the British style of music. Like I said, it evolved into the Skiffle British. It also evolved into, like I mentioned at the beginning, Delta style. The Delta style of blues turned into Chicago style of blues. And that transformation occurred when many of those musicians started leaving the Delta and going to Memphis and then into Chicago and into Detroit. And we got those different styles of sound. The main component is different when it comes to... Stop! The main difference between Delta blues and the Chicago blues is the electrifiedness of the music. Delta blues is more acoustic and harmonic and unplugged, whereas the Chicago and the Detroit style is more plugged in. And later in other videos we will speak of those, but this video is mainly about the Delta blues and how it morphed into what it has become today. And I really do feel that we should show an appreciation for that. And I really want to go down there, like I've said multiple times in this video. And this video is only to give you a little bit of a sample, kind of give you an idea of what it is, and maybe spark that interest for you to do some more further digging and listening. I am just the medium here. I hope to one day do a more in-depth video for all of you. And we could go down there together, and I'll share the videos, and we'll go through the Delta Blues Trail, and you'll see Clarksdale and Vicksburg and all the different cool spots. One cool tidbit of information is Morgan Freeman owns a juke jive joint down in Mississippi. I think some of the resurgence that helped bring the blues back into forefront was recently Jack White was interviewed and he asked who was his favorite blues musician, and he mentioned Son House, and how his favorite song is grinning you in the face, because it's so offbeat, and Son House's clap is off tempo and everything, and he thought that was so amazing. Another cool insurgence was during the pandemic. I think right before the pandemic, it was probably recorded, but during the pandemic, it was released. Was the Black Keys came out with Delta Cream, and they spent a lot of money down in the Mississippi area, donating to schools, music programs, and everything. What's also really cool, during the year in the early spring, like April, May, down in parts of Mississippi, they do Delta Blues music festivals. I think they also do them in October too. But once again, I really feel that this is a true American art form, a music art form that has evolved as the years also progress. Like I said, a lot of these guys were not paid properly, or they didn't get the fame like a lot of white musicians did. During the 60s, Canned Heat, the band Canned Heat, started finding a lot of these old time blues guys and started to bring them on tour and doing revivals at colleges with Bob Dylan and other influential 60s rock guys. And we could thank Canned Heat for that. And he preserved a lot of that and brought a lot of attention to many of those artists. I think that we have to have that appreciation for blues. The next topic we'll talk about will probably be some influential Chicago blues players, or maybe some city blues from Memphis, which spawned a lot of Elvis's music. But thank you for this, and I think this so far is the best video I've done. And I appreciate everyone for the subscribers and people following me for the last 3-4 years. It's been a great journey, and I'm going to close this up. We're at the 12-minute mark. I'm sorry for yelling at my dog while we were recording, but it is what it is. I have a little puppy in Midnight. Some of you guys seen her in some videos. But remember, everyone, we are not each other's enemies. Please like and subscribe and give it a share. And I hope to see you all soon. Have a wonderful week. Thank you.
Early this morning, ooh, you know the phone.